Learn the 5 mistakes business owners make that turn one-on-ones into status updates instead of performance engines for business growth. You're listening to Why Your Business Isn't Growing and How to Fix It, the business growth podcast for small business owners and SME leaders who want to scale, lift team performance and sharpen leadership without 60-hour weeks. G'day, I'm Brendan Rogers and thanks for joining me. In this episode, you'll learn the 5 mistakes that turn one-on-ones into status updates, a fast playbook to flip updates into outcomes, and a tiny checklist you can run this week. Think of this as your playbook. It's time to craft your one-on-ones, not wing them. Most leaders book weekly one-on-ones, then treat them like email inbox time. Updates, updates, updates. No coaching, no clear questions, and no change next week. Now here's the twist. Performance doesn't improve because you talk more. It improves because you ask better questions. You track better metrics and you follow up better, all on a steady rhythm. This is a leadership podcast, but it's also a team performance podcast. Your one-on-ones are where standards, support, and speed get real. Now here's the playbook. I call it the Craft One-on-One Performance Pillars. It's 5 simple steps. It takes 10 minutes to set up. Then you just keep the rhythm. Now these 5 pillars are what helps overcome the 5 mistakes business owners make that turn one-on-ones into status updates instead of performance engines for business growth. And for this example, I'm going to focus on the weekly one-on-one performance meeting. Let's unpack the Craft One-on-One Performance Pillars. So the C in Craft is coach. We need to talk less and ask more. What does coaching do? Coaching builds judgment. Talking builds dependence. There's a few prompts that I like to use, then I shut up and I listen. These prompts are, what results do you want in the next 7 days? What's in your way? And what's your first move? And here's one action you can take this week. In your next one-on-one, spend at least the first 5 minutes asking before advising. The next pillar is R for rhythm. You need to stop rescheduling. Remember, people trust what happens on time every time. What you can do is pick a fixed day and time for 20 minutes, and if you're remote, make sure your camera's on. Only move it in a true emergency. And here's an action you can take this week. Open your calendar, lock a weekly slot for each direct report for the next 12 weeks. A is the next pillar, and A is for agenda. We need to stop winging it in our one-on-ones. Why is this important? Well, a shared and standard agenda stops rambling and it centers the outcomes. How do we implement it? Well, before the meeting, share the high-impact leader recommended agenda in a shared doc. It includes wins from the week before, the most important task for this week, and what support is needed. And if you like, add an additional 1 skill that you want to sharpen. And here's the action you can take this week to implement the A agenda pillar. Create a recurring document and title it one-on-one, your direct report's name, and agenda. The F pillar is for follow-ups. No follow-ups equals no change. And why is this important? Well, if it isn't written down, it isn't real. How do you make it happen? End each one-on-one with 3 lines in the shared document. I like to use DOD, decision or the next step, owner, and deadline. Now, the one action you can take this week to implement F follow-up pillar is add a DOD, decision, owner, deadline section to the shared document and fill it in before you close the meeting. And the final pillar is T for targets. No metrics is no momentum. Remember, numbers force clarity and help celebrate progress. How do you implement this? Well, pick one leading metric per person, something they control each week. For sales, the next step could be calls booked. For operations, it might be something like cycle time closed on some outstanding jobs. And customer service could be NPS, Net Promoter Score, comments closed. What's the action you can take this week? Well, just agree on one weekly metric and write it at the top of the shared document. In the High Impact Leader Club, you learn how to apply the Craft one-on-one performance pillars across the one-on-one meeting ecosystem, which includes the weekly performance, monthly development, and quarterly strategic growth meetings. Now let's take a quick pit stop. Try this out right now. Open your notes and type next one-on-one aim equals at least one decision plus one behavior improvement. And that's your success definition for every one-on-one meeting you have this week. Now here's the quick recap of the craft one-on-one performance pillars. C is coach, R is rhythm, A is agenda, F is follow-up, and T is targets. Always remember, craft your one-on-ones, don't wing them. In a minute, I'm going to give you a 9-word coaching question that flips any status update into a growth chat. Now I want you to hold that thought. Let's look at the mistakes and map them against the craft one-on-one performance pillars. Mistake 1, talking and not coaching. The fix is C for coach. Ask the result and any obstacle that's in the way and then listen. Mistake 2 is rescheduling. The fix in the craft framework is R for rhythm. Lock it in weekly, treat it like revenue. You want consistency. And mistake number 3, no agenda. The fix, use the high impact leader recommended agenda for the relevant one-on-one type. Mistake 4, no follow-ups. And the fix, F for follow-ups. N with decision on next steps, the owner and deadlines written down. And mistake 5, no metrics. The fix is T for targets. One weekly metric you can move. Here's why speed matters in the process. In episode 28, I said trust reduces by the hour after your first contact. The same rule applies here. Close every one-on-one with decision, owner, deadline. Then the same day, email a 3-line recap to your direct report. Leave no loose ends. No, I thought you meant whatever. Just maintain momentum. Remember, small improvements every day. That's how serious growth happens. Here's a 10-second audit. Answer yes or no for each direct report that you have. Do we have a fixed weekly one-on-one slot? Did we follow the standard agenda last time? Did we leave with a written decision, owner, and deadline? Did I ask before I advised? Do we track one weekly metric? Now, count your no answers, and that becomes your to-do list. Action it now. Remember I talked about the 9-word coaching question? Well, here it is. What decision moves this forward in the next 7 days, i.e. before we meet again? Ask it, then wait. This gives ownership instead of updates. So here's the thing. If your one-on-ones feel like status updates, your team stalls, and you start to micromanage, you lose hours each week. Your best people disengage, and tiny issues turn into costly rework. You need to get a clear read on your leadership habits and the exact next step to build high-impact one-on-ones. You can take the free high-impact leader assessment at leaderbydesign.au/assessment. You'll see your level and the one change to implement this week. I'm Brendan Rogers, and this is why your business isn't growing and how to fix it. If today's episode helped you, follow or subscribe and share it with just one SME owner or leader who will benefit. If you want to learn more about joining the High Impact Leader Club, go to leaderbydesign.au/HIL. Until next time, grow yourself, grow your business. SME business owners and senior leaders, tired of 60-hour weeks while cash flow crawls? Break free with my free 60-minute training, the 5-habit method to boost cash flow without 60-hour weeks. Learn leadership habits that lift revenue, energize your team, and let you clock off by 5. You'll also see how the High Impact Leader membership delivers ongoing coaching, accountability, and plug-and-play systems to elevate your career and company. Grab your seat at leaderbydesign.au/impact.